This is the first episode of Behind the Lyric, and I wanted to start here because this song is where everything began. Not just the album, a part of me. We Come Alive is a song about a moment, a very specific moment. The first time I truly felt alive inside a competition. I was in college, and I almost didn't make it to that moment at all. I grew up loving swords, not in a serious way, in the way a kid falls in love with something through movies and stories. The Three Musketeers, the world of blade and motion and honor. I always wanted to try fencing. I just never had the opportunity. Then I went to Virginia Tech, and I was in the Corps of Cadets there. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, it's a military-style program, like boot camp, structured, demanding, a culture that doesn't leave a lot of room for things that aren't part of the Corps. I was emotionally closed off back then, not because I was unhappy, just because that's how I'd learned to operate. Stuffing things down, being guarded. This didn't allow me to be fully part of college life outside that structure. And then one of the upperclassmen in my company took up fencing. I saw saber fencing for the first time, and I had to try it. So I joined one club during my time at Virginia Tech. Just one. With no affiliation to the Corps whatsoever. I started training, learning the footwork, the blade work, the theory of distance and timing. It felt good. Right even. Like something I'd been waiting to find. And then I competed for the first time. Mind you, back then I was fencing saber all the time. And at some point in that competition, I executed my first parry riposte. For anyone unfamiliar, a parry is a defensive action. You deflect your opponent's blade. A riposte is the immediate attack that follows. In theory, it's straightforward. In practice, it requires reading your opponent a little, reacting faster than conscious thought, and committing to both movements as a single fluid action. I drilled it 100 times, but still didn't have confidence in actually executing it. But then, this was the first time it happened in a real competition, against a real opponent, with something actually at stake, and something flipped inside me. It's the only way I can describe it. Not excitement, not pride, something deeper than either of those. Like a part of me that had been waiting, that had been dormant, maybe for years, suddenly woke up. And it wasn't just practice anymore, it was theory. It was applied, it was real, it was alive. I remember thinking, I have never felt this before. As the years went on, and there have been a lot of years now, I realized that feeling didn't go away. It just changed shape. It got more nuanced. But every time I stepped onto the strip, some version of that same thing happened. A part of me that existed differently everywhere else came to life in that space. I've tried to explain this to people who don't compete. The way a specific environment, a specific set of rules and stakes and opponents can access a version of you that nothing else reaches. Most of the time I couldn't find the words. The closest I ever got to it was this. It was like a part of me had been waiting for fencing, and then when I found it, that part was just happy. I wrote We Come Alive because that feeling needed to exist somewhere I could point to. Something I could say that's what it feels like. Not to explain it, just to hold it still long enough for someone else to recognize it too. After all, I can't be the only person that feels that. The song opens with the moment I'm always describing. Mask comes down, the world goes quiet and still. One blade between me and the moment, heart racing against my will. Heart racing against my will. That's the honest version of competition. You don't choose to feel it, your body just responds. The heart rate, the focus narrowing, the way everything outside the strip stops being relevant. None of it is chosen, it just happens. And then, that voice that says you're not enough gets drowned by the need to begin. Not defeated, not silenced, drowned. There's a difference. The inner voice is still there. It was there that first competition at Virginia Tech. It's still there now, 20 plus years later. But at some point, the moment gets louder than the voice, and you just move. The chorus was one of the hardest parts to write. because it had to carry something very specific. Not face your fear, not believe you can win. Just the strip. Just moving. Win or lose didn't matter. Scared or not didn't matter. I could spend an hour in my own head before a bout, and none of it meant anything until I was actually out there, moving. The second that happened, something came on. That's what the chorus had to hold. Not the outcome, not the courage, just the threshold. The moment motion becomes the only thing that's real. Win or lose, we rise every time we fall. If the fear tries to pull you back, let it pull. We're already moving in. Let it pull. That line was the hardest to find, because that's exactly what happened. I didn't have years of experience to fall back on. I didn't have strategy or muscle memory yet, or even a library of bout film in my head. What I had was fear. And somewhere in those early bouts, I figured out, you don't fight it. You don't push it down. You let it move you. Literally. The fear forces you forward, and the second you go, something releases. That feeling you get after doing something terrifying, the adrenaline, the sudden sharp sense that you are completely, undeniably alive, that's what I was chasing. That's what the strip gave me. And let it pull was the only way to say it. The bridge is the line that anchors the whole album. Eyes open, every second sharp and clear. The score doesn't define us, only that we showed up here. Only that we showed up here. That first competition at Virginia Tech, I didn't win it. I don't even remember the outcome. I think I may have come in 8th place out of 8 people. What I remember is that Perry riposte. The moment something woke up. The score didn't define that. The showing up did. That's true of everything that followed, and it's true of every episode in this series. I wanted this to sound like an anthem, but not the kind that tells you to be fearless. The kind that grabs you right in the middle of feeling everything and says, yes, feel it, all of it, and let that be the fuel. The verse holds the tension, the weight, the specific restless pressure of wanting something and not knowing yet if you can have it. And then the chorus opens, and that's the strip. That's the moment I've been chasing every time I write a track. The rush you get when you step into it. When everything you've been holding suddenly has somewhere to go. Euphoric. That was a word that kept coming back to me. Not aggressive, not triumphant, euphoric. Because it's not about winning. It's about arriving at the version of yourself that only shows up in that specific place, doing that specific thing. For me, it's the strip. But I don't think that feeling belongs to fencing alone. I don't think it belongs to sports or performance or anything in particular. I think we all have a place where we come alive. A moment where everything else drops away and you are just completely, fully there. And I think a lot of people spend years not knowing that they're allowed to chase it. So if this song does anything, I hope that's it. I hope it finds you right where you step into yours. We Come Alive is the first track on the album, and I start the series here because I think everything else in On the Line flows from this moment. The discovery that there's a version of you that only certain things can reach. I found mine on a strip in a college competition 20-some years ago. With a Perry riposte I didn't fully understand and a feeling I've never stopped chasing. If you've felt something like that in competition, in creating, in anything, I wrote this for that version of you. The full song is linked below. Next episode, we go to the place before this moment. The anxiety, the contingency planning, the brain that won't stop until the ref speaks. That's counting down. I'll see you there.